Some details don't feel important until they are. A name mentioned once, a place passed by, a moment that doesn't seem to do much at all, and then later you realize the story never forgot it. Hello everybody, Keith Terpsma here, and welcome to episode 15 of the Lit Torch, videos designed with family read aloud in mind. Let's begin with an observation. Last week, we talked about the guess, that moment when your child starts to sense that something is coming. This video is the next step, because before a child can guess where a story is going, they have to begin noticing what might matter. And that's not always obvious. Stories don't usually announce these moments. They don't say, "Pay attention, this will be important later." Instead, they leave traces, quiet ones, a detail that feels just a little too specific, a line that lingers longer than it should, a moment that doesn't seem to resolve. And most of the time, we read right past them, not because we're doing anything wrong, but because they don't look important yet. And to be honest, this is one I've missed too. Moving through a chapter, trying to keep things flowing, wanting the story to get somewhere, not realizing it already was somewhere. There's a quiet kind of guilt in that, not heavy, just the sense that something small was placed there on purpose, and I didn't see it. But this is something families can begin to shift, not by turning reading into a lesson, but by gently changing what we pay attention to. If you want something simple to hold on to during read aloud, you might think of it like this. Notice what might come back later. And as you read, just begin to watch for a few things, a detail that feels oddly specific, a moment that gets just a little more space than expected, a line that raises a quiet question, something your child notices, even if they can't explain why. You don't have to stop the story. You don't have to explain it. Sometimes it's enough to just let it exist, like a small mark on the trail. Because what you're building here is subtle. It's the beginning of awareness, a sense that stories are doing more than simply moving forward. They're placing things, preparing things, letting meaning gather over time. And then later, when something returns, when that small detail connects, when your child suddenly says, "Wait, that was from before," that's the moment. Not because it was explained, but because it was discovered. Stories don't just tell us what happens. They show us that what seemed small wasn't. This week, when you're reading with your child, see if you can notice one small detail that feels like it might come back later, and let it stay there. And if you're looking for a simple way to begin, I've put together a short 10-minute read aloud reset you can try with your family. It's a quiet starting point, something to help these kinds of moments begin to show up more naturally. You'll find it in the description below. Until then, take the torch and read aloud. All the best to you.